Hey guys, we've been waiting a long time for a new RTS game for hardcore fans of the genre, and Stormgate seems to be the game that is looking to fill that niche. Branded as a successor to StarCraft and Warcraft, this game has big shoes to fill, and it promises to be both a co-op casual experience as well as a future esport. Now, I wasn't given access to play the alpha, so I'm not going to be talking about how the game feels to play, just my initial impressions of the visuals presented in the official videos, what I think is good, and where I think they could improve. The only race we've seen in depth so far is the human faction, and their early unit is the scout. And dogs are an interesting unit. My problem with them is I know how strong a dog is. It brings down the power level of all the units. Like, how many dogs does it take to kill a guy in this game? 5? 10? No, it appears that it takes no more than 3. If a guy in riot gear with a gun gets attacked by 3 dogs, do you think he will lose? No. So whenever I see dogs beating one of the units, I just think this unit is weak as hell. It takes away from my perception of the mech suit guy being badass and just makes him look pathetic. The workers appear to be robots, so how come we couldn't have a scouting robot for the human faction? Something a bit more believable that doesn't take away from the other units' perceived power. Also, why do we have dudes in mech suits fighting with swords? It feels like a weird decision by the developers. Maybe it will make more sense with the addition of other races, but it feels strange to me right now. There appears to be creeping in this game, similar to Warcraft 3, which I'm not against, although I don't know how important it will be in-game if there are no heroes to level up or items to get. It seems like they provide some sort of buffs. Also, the creeps look a bit silly, like why am I fighting chickens to get power-ups? And if a few chickens beat my guy in a mech suit, I just feel like the power level of the unit is in the garbage can once again. Another gripe I have is the units looking very similar. Units in the game they're just not popping out to me as very different from each other. We've only seen a lot of the human army, but look at this. We have a guy with a gun, another guy with a sword, a bigger guy also with a gun. They look so similar, it's really hard to tell them apart, especially in a big group. I don't know if this will be a problem once we get to the final release. I hope it won't be, but I really want to see bigger differences between the different units so I can tell what I'm looking at when I see an army. The army seems to move similarly to StarCraft 2, so take a look at the army there. I can tell the difference between the units because the design is very different between tanks, marines, hellions. They all look unique, so we can tell at a glance what the composition of the army is. I really like the aesthetic of this image showing day and night. The light behind the defenders and the enemies coming out of the dark with the muzzle flash lighting them up. However, it's really hard to see the units in the dark. Like, what am I looking at here? I can't see their color. I can't see features. If not for the light under the wings and bellies of these cat things, I wouldn't be able to see anything at all. Imagine if there were 2 armies of these enemies on the left fighting each other in the dark. What does that look like? It looks like a complete mess to me, because how are you going to be able to tell the difference between any of these units? I'm liking this image a lot. The dead bodies and death animations look sick. A lot of blood down here, and looks like one of the enemies is exploding apart. It seems like they're going with death animations rather than physics animations where the body parts just fly through the air after they die and bounce around. I think it looks cooler like this, and I'm glad they chose this direction. My problem with this image, however, is the brightness of the cannon firing and the explosion on impact. I think this muddles the view, and you can't really see the death animations when things die under these clouds of smoke. I think that unless an ability is made with the purpose of obscuring vision, i.e. Dark Swarm, I don't think it's a good idea if it obscures your vision as a side effect. Say what you want about me, but I'm not a big fan of cartoon backgrounds in RTS. The background looks so out of place here in this clip. Let's remove the units from here and just look at the background. What the hell is this fence? Are we on a farm? Why is there just a random torch here? I don't know if we're on Earth or a random planet, but it seems so weird to have a fence and a torch. Can't we have something less silly for our background? Just some trees or shrubs maybe?
We want a shrubbery. A what?
rock formations or something, I don't know. See, this background looks great, but look, another freaking chicken. We have a bit of pre-alpha footage to look at, and honestly, a lot of it looks really good. Again, death animations look great, backgrounds still cartoon-like, but they can easily change this with new maps. One problem I see, or rather I hear, is the kind of ambiguous sound design in music. A lot of the sounds are boring and underwhelming. Death sounds are unimpactful, and attack sounds are very similar. Machine guns and strange pew pew sounds that I guess are assault rifles? I think the sound design team needs to update these before the game's launch to make the sound really pop out. Death sounds should be impactful and satisfying, so that when large groups of units or workers die, it feels like an accomplishment. Sounds in battles are a huge part of what makes them awesome, and if what's going on the screen is accompanied with unsatisfying sound design, it won't be as enjoyable or fun as it could be. There's still time to update the sound design and character models before release. I hope that the Stormgate team will endeavor to create an engaging atmosphere with sounds and visuals. We also got a tiny glimpse of one of the other races, which is the Infernals, that looks pretty exciting. A lot more gritty and dark with those visuals, although we only got a few seconds of video and some artwork to go on, so I'll reserve judgment on that for a future video. Overall, my feeling is the art style looks a little too much like Overwatch for my taste. It looks very cartoon-like and not really gritty for a game that claims to be the successor to StarCraft. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see where this goes, how the game will continue to develop, and the other factions that will be emerging in the future. I think the RTS scene needs a new game desperately, and there are a ton of players just waiting for a new title to pick up. Will you try playing this game? What do you think about the style we've seen so far? There's going to be an open beta in December. I'm definitely going to check it out. And that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.